So this is wild. The concept, study, and exploration of the unconscious is relatively young in the grand scheme of things, right? Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung were the first two guys that came up with and coined the term emotional repression, and that was only like in the first half of the 20th century. Their ideas were viewed as pretty radical at the time by the establishment, and they got a lot of criticism for it during and after their heyday. There were a group of therapists that came in after Freud and Jung pretty quickly and said, forget what these guys are talking about. The therapeutic and clinical model is more about analyzing, talking, processing, and essentially nervous system regulation, which actually makes a lot of sense if your goal is to stay emotionally safe and out of the unconscious, because it's scary down there. And this is reflected in today's world, where you see a lot of people in the clinical or therapeutic or spiritual paradigms really stressing the importance of nervous system regulation. And don't get me wrong, nervous system regulation is a great thing if you want to stay out of the unconscious. It can help us feel temporarily more soothed and calm and safe and present and okay in our own skin again. Just ask the alcoholic who's drinking, or the addict who's using, or the ice bather who's ice bathing, or the breath worker who's breathing, or the meditator who's meditating. I mean, this stuff really works until it doesn't. Do you know what satiety is? When you're satiated, right? Like after you eat, how long does it take you to get hungry again after you eat? Trying to address suffering with nervous system regulation is like trying to regularly eat in order to eradicate hunger permanently, right? You can do it for a while, but it's just not gonna happen. Because our emotional dysregulation, or our suffering, is created, driven, and sustained by the buried emotions in the unconscious body and the repression mechanism that holds them down. So Freud and Jung were right. The root of suffering, emotional repression, lives in the unconscious body. Now, as far as I know, they didn't have the tools to resolve and come out of emotional repression, but we do.